invest. Yes, I invest.
Yes, I invest.
Yes, I invest.
Welcome, the anointed ones. They tried to bury you, but they didn't know you were a seed. The world has been watching, waiting and wondering, where have you been? Why has your journey been so brutally different from everyone else's? Why have you faced trials that would have broken lesser souls? Well, here's the truth no one wants to admit. You were never meant to fit in. You were never meant to have an easy life. Because you, my friend, are not regular. You are one of the chosen ones. And this is no ordinary comeback. This is a shockwave waiting to hit the world. Here's a fact for you. Some of the greatest revolutionaries, visionaries, and disruptors in history had one thing in common. They were rejected before they were remembered. Nikola Tesla died in obscurity. Van Gogh sold only one painting in his lifetime. Even Jesus was mocked before being worshipped. Do you see the pattern? If the world has ignored you, congratulations, you're in legendary company. But here's the twist. Your time of being hidden is over. You're about to emerge in a way that will leave people speechless. The very ones who doubted you will be scrambling for explanations, trying to understand how you went from the forgotten to the unforgettable. And let's be honest, at this point even you might be wondering, am I really one of the chosen ones, or am I just someone who takes their coffee way too seriously? Let me answer that for you. You felt it your whole life. The disconnect from the ordinary, the intensity of your path, the way people either gravitate toward you or recoil in confusion. These aren't random. They're signs that you weren't put here to blend in. You were placed here to shake the world awake. And trust me, the world is about to get the shock of its life. Number one, the chosen ones are here to break the simulation, not just play in it. Most people are living inside an invisible prison, a mental simulation so convincing that they don't even realize they're trapped. It's not just the government, the media, or the education system shaping their reality. It's deeper than that. It's the very structure of how society has been built. The rules we blindly follow, the beliefs we never question, the patterns we repeat without thinking. The world runs on a script, and almost everyone is playing their assigned role without even knowing it. But you were never part of the program. You felt it your entire life. Something about this world has always seemed off. You've questioned things that others accept without hesitation. You've sensed that people are operating on autopilot, moving through life like programmed machines, defending a system that does nothing but use them. And because you don't follow the script, you've been treated like a glitch in the system. People have called you difficult, rebellious, even crazy, not because you're wrong, but because you see what they refuse to see. Your existence alone disrupts the illusion. Wherever you go, you shake things up. You make people uncomfortable, not by trying, but simply by being awake in a world that thrives on sleep. That's why your presence is met with resistance. The system doesn't like anomalies. It prefers people who comply, stay in line, and never ask why. But you were sent here to break the illusion, not participate in it. This is why your path has been so difficult. The world does not reward those who expose its tricks. It punishes them. But here's what no one tells you. Every attempt to shut you down has only made you stronger. And now, the system is failing, cracks are forming, and the world is desperate for truth. This is where you come in. Because the chosen ones were never meant to just survive the system. They were meant to dismantle it. Number two, your life has been unbearably hard because you're being tempered like a weapon. Your life hasn't been hard by accident. It wasn't just bad luck, poor circumstances, or some cruel cosmic joke. Every hardship, every betrayal, every moment that pushed you to the edge was part of something much bigger than you realized. You weren't being punished. You were being tempered. Life has been sharpening you like a blade, not to destroy you, but to make sure that when the time comes, you cannot be broken. Look at your past, the people who hurt you. They were teachers in disguise. The doors that slammed in your face, they forced you to carve your own path. the loneliness, the setbacks, the relentless storms that made you question everything, they weren't obstacles, they were refinements. The universe doesn't waste effort on those meant for mediocrity. It only puts its most valuable souls through the fire, because only they have the power to reshape the world. You've probably wondered why your life seems so much harder than others. Why some people float through life while you've had to fight for every inch. The answer is simple. They weren't built for what you were built for. They don't need to be tested like you because they don't have the same purpose. A plastic sword never goes through fire. Only real steel does. Everything you've been through has been a stripping away of weakness, illusion, and limitation. The people who left you, they weren't meant to come where you're going. The struggles you faced, they were there to wake you up to your true nature. And now, you stand at the edge of something extraordinary. You are no longer the person who was hurt, doubted, or underestimated. You are the product of every battle you survived. They thought life was breaking you, but all it was doing was building someone unstoppable. Number 3, you are a cosmic disruptor, not a passive observer. You were never meant to just sit back and observe life like everyone else. You weren't born to simply follow the rules, check the boxes, and do what's expected. The moment you entered this world, you carried something different. An energy, a presence, a force that doesn't just blend into the background. Wherever you go, things shift. People react. Some are drawn to you like a magnet, while others seem instantly irritated by you, even if you've done nothing at all. This isn't random. This is the effect of someone who wasn't made to comply, but to disrupt. Most people are conditioned to go with the flow, never questioning why things are the way they are. But you've questioned everything since the beginning. You've challenged authority, resisted false narratives, and refused to accept the ordinary. You shake things up without even trying. People sense it, even if they don't understand why. Some admire you for it, seeing you as a leader, a visionary, or a breath of fresh air in a stale world. Others resent you because your presence exposes something in them, their complacency, their fears, their willingness to settle. This is why you've often felt out of place. It's why you've been misunderstood, labeled as difficult, rebellious, or even a troublemaker. The truth is, you're none of those things. You're a catalyst, someone who triggers change just by existing. And the world, it doesn't like to be shaken. It prefers things to stay predictable, controlled, and easy to manipulate. But you weren't sent here to make people comfortable. You were sent here to wake them up. Your energy alone is enough to shift a room. You don't need to force anything. It happens naturally. The question is, will you keep trying to suppress what you are, or will you finally step into it? Because once you do, there's no stopping the ripple effect. And whether people love it or hate it, the world will never be the same once you do.
A drive for life plus more. The all-new MG ZS Hybrid Plus. From 21,995.
Hello. Invitations, please.
Oh, I'm the bride.
Congratulations. But without an invite, you could be anyone.
That's my face.
What a load of malarkey. Smarty keeps things simple. Less malarkey, more smarty.
Number 4, The world thinks you're returning, but you never left. The world has been waiting for something, sensing a shift, anticipating a great return. And now, as you step forward, they will think you are coming back, as if you ever truly left. But the truth is, you were never gone. You were simply hidden, moving in silence, preparing for the exact moment when your presence would matter most. This is not a comeback story. This is an unveiling. The world is not about to see a new version of you. It is about to see the real you. The one that has always existed beneath layers of conditioning, self-doubt, and forced conformity. The one that was waiting for the right conditions to emerge. And now, those conditions have arrived. While others were lost in distractions, you were refining yourself. While the world was drowning in noise, you were listening to something deeper. And now, as everything shifts, you rise, not to participate in history, but to shape it. People will be shocked. Some will act as if you've changed overnight, as if you've suddenly become something powerful, something unstoppable. But you know the truth. You have always been this. The difference is, now you're done holding it back. You were not waiting for permission. You were waiting for the right timing. The world needed to reach this breaking point for you to emerge at full force. And now, that moment has come. This isn't about proving anything. It's not about convincing anyone. It's about stepping fully into who you were always meant to be and making sure the world never forgets it. Number 5, the world has tried to bury you because it knows you're a seed. Your entire life, you've been met with resistance. Not because you were wrong, not because you were weak, but because something inside you was too powerful to be ignored. The world has tried to shut you down, silence you, isolate you, not out of coincidence, but out of fear. You were never meant to follow the script, and deep down, the system knew that. So it did what it always does to threats. It tried to bury you. People have underestimated you, dismissed you, even turned against you for no reason you could understand. Opportunities that should have been yours were blocked. You've been betrayed by those you trusted, sabotaged in ways that didn't even make sense. At times, it felt personal, but it wasn't. It was energetic warfare. The world sensed your potential long before you did. The moment you entered this life, something about you signaled change, and change has always been met with resistance. But here's what they didn't realize. You weren't being buried to die. You were being planted to grow. Every attempt to suppress you only forced you to develop stronger roots. Every setback made you more resilient. Every betrayal sharpened your discernment. They thought they were stopping you, but all they were doing was preparing you. Now, while they remain stuck in the same cycles, you have transformed. The season of being hidden is over. You have grown in the darkness, in the silence, in the solitude where no one was watching, and now it's time. Not to fight for a place in the world, not to prove anything, but to rise effortlessly, because you were always meant to. Those who tried to bury you will watch in disbelief as you break through the surface, because what they thought was your end was only your beginning. Number 6, your mind has been upgraded while others have been distracted. While the world was hypnotized, mindlessly scrolling, chasing temporary highs and drowning in distractions, you were evolving, not by accident, not by luck, but because something inside you refused to be sedated. While others numbed themselves with endless entertainment, social validation, and surface-level pleasures, you were upgrading. Your mind was in overdrive, absorbing, questioning, decoding reality in ways most people never even attempt. This is why you feel different. It's why you can no longer relate to the conversations most people have, why their interests seem empty, why the things that once entertained you now feel meaningless. While they were sedated by the system, you were quietly stepping outside of it. You've been undergoing a transformation, one so profound that you probably didn't even realize it was happening. Look at the world now. Chaotic, confused, desperate for answers. People are waking up, but slowly, painfully, as if they've been ripped from a deep sleep. But you're already awake. You've already done the inner work, the questioning, the dismantling of illusions. What's happening now is just confirmation of what you already knew. And here's the kicker. The same people who dismissed you before, who laughed at your ideas, who said you were overthinking or too deep, are now scrambling to catch up. They're feeling the effects of a world shifting beneath their feet, but they don't have the mental tools to navigate it. You do. While they were distracted, you were being prepared. While they were busy with temporary things, you were gaining something permanent. Clarity, wisdom, and a mind that can't be manipulated. This isn't just an advantage, it's the difference between being lost and being a leader in the new world that's emerging. Number 7, you don't belong to a generation, you belong to an era of awakening. You were never meant to be confined by generational labels. The world loves to categorize people, millennial, Gen Z, boomer, as if a birth year can explain the depth of a soul's mission. But you don't fit into those boxes because your purpose transcends time. You're not part of a generation. You're part of a movement, an era of awakening. Look around. Some people your age feel like strangers, while others, much older or younger, feel like kindred spirits. That's because your connection isn't based on age. It's based on frequency. You are part of a soul wave that incarnated at different times, but with the same purpose: to disrupt, to awaken, and to shift the consciousness of this planet. And here's the thing, your activation was never random. You came with codes, deep ancient knowledge embedded in you that was meant to unlock at the exact right moment. For years you might have felt out of place, like you didn't quite belong. That's because your time hadn't arrived yet. But now, something is stirring. You felt it. The pull, the urgency, the sense that things are aligning in ways you can't fully explain. That's not your imagination. That's your codes activating. The moment you were meant for is happening now. And here's what makes you different. While others are clinging to old systems, outdated mindsets, and shallow identities, you're tuned into something deeper. You are here for transformation, not tradition. You are here for evolution, not repetition. You didn't come to fit into the past. You came to create the future. Your mission was never about following the rules of a generation. It was about breaking the cycle of history itself. And number 8, people can sense who you are before you even speak. Before you even open your mouth, people already feel you. It's not about what you wear, how you carry yourself, or even what you say. It's your energy. There's something about you that stands out, even when you're silent. Some people are instantly drawn to you, sensing something rare and powerful. Others seem irritated or defensive for no reason at all. That's because your presence alone is enough to activate or agitate. You've probably noticed this pattern your whole life. Strangers randomly opening up to you as if they've known you forever. Others staring at you with fascination or confusion. People either treating you with deep respect or unprovoked hostility. It's not luck. It's not coincidence. It's the effect of your frequency. Those who are ready for transformation feel a magnetic pull toward you. They don't always understand why, but something inside them recognizes that you carry something they need. Truth, clarity, a reminder of what's real. Your presence awakens something in them, a spark they may have forgotten. These people see you as a guide, even if they can't put it into words. But then there are those who react negatively. They may mock you, challenge you, or become inexplicably irritated in your presence. It's not because you've done anything wrong, it's because your energy exposes them. It forces them to confront things they've been avoiding, illusions they've been protecting. They lash out not because they hate you, but because they fear what you represent: change, truth, and a break from the comfortable lies they live in. This is why you don't need to convince anyone of who you are. You don't need to prove your worth, explain yourself, or seek validation. The right people will feel it. The wrong ones will resist it. Either way, your presence speaks louder than words ever could. Number 9, you were never here to be liked. You were sent to be remembered. You were never meant to be liked, accepted, or easily understood. That was never part of your purpose. The world conditions people to seek approval, to fit in, to mold themselves into what's acceptable. But you were built differently. You were sent here to leave an impact so deep, so undeniable, that even if people don't appreciate you now, they will never forget you. Look at history. The greatest minds, the most revolutionary souls, none of them were embraced in their time. They were mocked, rejected, even attacked for daring to challenge the system. Nikola Tesla ridiculed, Galileo persecuted, Van Gogh unrecognized, Jesus crucified. And yet, long after they were gone, the world couldn't erase them. The very people who dismissed them were later forced to acknowledge they were right all along. This is what happens to those who disrupt reality. You don't get celebrated in real time. You get resisted, misunderstood. Some will try to twist your message, discredit you, make you question your own power, not because you're wrong, but because you're ahead of your time. The world has always feared what it cannot control, and you are uncontrollable. But here's what they don't realize. You're not here for applause. You're not here for validation. You are here to shift consciousness itself. People may ignore you, mock you, or pretend they don't see what you bring, but deep down, they feel it. And one day, they will have no choice but to acknowledge what was always there. So stop waiting for permission. Stop trying to be understood. You weren't sent here to be another forgettable name lost in the noise. You were sent to change something so profoundly that the world cannot erase your fingerprint, no matter how much time passes. Number 10. Your pain wasn't just for you. It was a blueprint for others. Your pain was never just about you. Every betrayal, every heartbreak, every moment that made you feel like you wouldn't survive, it wasn't meaningless. It wasn't just some cruel, random suffering. It was a blueprint. Life was handing you the exact experiences you needed, not to break you, but to equip you. Because one day, others will be lost in the same darkness you once fought through. And when that moment comes, you will already know the way out. Think about it. Why was your path so much harder than most? Why did you experience betrayals that cut deeper? Loneliness that felt unbearable? Struggles that never seemed to let up? It wasn't because you were cursed. It was because you were being prepared. The lessons that nearly destroyed you are the exact wisdom you'll use to lead others when their time comes. Most people avoid pain. They numb it, deny it, bury it deep, and hope it disappears. But you had no choice but to face it head on. And in doing so, you uncovered truths that most people never will. You learned resilience, depth, and the kind of wisdom that can't be taught in books. You learned what it means to break and rebuild, to lose everything and still rise. And now, whether you realize it or not, you are the guide that others will one day seek. The world is shifting. People are waking up to realities they never wanted to see. And when they do, they will be desperate for someone who understands, someone who has already walked the fire and lived to tell the tale. That someone is you.
Marketers are spread so thin. You've got to generate leads, then score leads, then contact leads. But is it leading anywhere? There's so much content to make, so many channels to manage across so many campaigns. You have to be everywhere, all the time. You're in overdrive. Are you over it? But with HubSpot,
It's never been easier to create content that breaks through.
and campaigns that drive revenue.
So impossible growth.
Feels impossibly easy. Toblerone truffles, velvety diamond-shaped chocolate with a crunchy nougat filling. Bringing homes to life with the Cotswold Company. Discover our range at cotswoldco.com.
You can get buy one get one free on these fragrances right now. Let me tell you why this is a bargain. If you want a fragrance that lasts all day, you need the Essence Vault. If you want the same high-end scent, you need the Essence Vault. If you want a fragrance that costs 10 times less, you need the Essence Vault. And you can even use the buy one get one free offer on the 3-bottle bundles. That's 6 bottles for the price of 3, all inspired by your favourite designer scents. Long-lasting, luxury-inspired fragrances at a fraction of the price. Shop now at the link below.
The pain you endured wasn't just personal, it was preparation. Because when the world steps into its own darkness, you will be the one holding the lantern. Number 11, the world is on the brink of collapse and you are here to catch the falling pieces. The world as we know it is disintegrating. Economically, spiritually, socially, every system built on illusion and control is collapsing in real time. People are panicking, clinging to what's familiar, desperate to hold on to a version of reality that no longer works. But you were built for this. This moment was never about destruction for the sake of destruction. It was about clearing space. The old world, corrupt systems, false narratives, superficial values, had to fall apart. It could never sustain itself because it was built on lies. And deep down, you always knew this day would come. That's why you never fully bought into the illusions, why you never felt comfortable playing along. You weren't here to uphold something broken, you were sent to rebuild something new. While others are in chaos, you are clear. Not because you have all the answers, but because your spirit recognizes the pattern. You've already lived through collapse, internally, emotionally, spiritually. Your life has been a series of deaths and rebirths, breaking down and rebuilding, losing everything and coming back stronger. What the world is facing now, you've already survived it on a personal level. And that's why, while others panic, you are calm. While they see only destruction, you see the blueprint emerging from beneath the rubble. You weren't sent here to watch the world burn. You were sent here to catch the falling pieces and shape them into something better. While many will be lost, looking for a foundation that no longer exists, you are the one who will build the bridge to what comes next. Not everyone will see it yet. Not everyone will understand. But that doesn't matter, because when the dust settles and the old world is gone, you will still be standing, ready, waiting, and already creating the new era that was always meant to come. Number 12, you weren't taught, you were activated. You don't learn the way others do, you never have. While most people gain knowledge through structured education, memorization, and external validation, your wisdom arrives differently, like a sudden, undeniable realization. You don't always know where it comes from, but when it hits, it feels absolute. It's not arrogance, it's not luck, it's activation. This is why you often just know things. You may have spent years doubting yourself, wondering why certain insights drop into your mind without explanation, why you've always sensed truths that others struggle to grasp, why you can read between the lines when people can barely see what's in front of them. That's because you weren't programmed through traditional means. You were coded with knowledge before you even got here. And when the right moment comes, those codes unlock. It's why you've had experiences of sudden clarity, where something shifts in your consciousness, and overnight you see the world differently. It's why you grasp complex spiritual, emotional, or universal truths that take others decades to even consider. You weren't given this wisdom through textbooks, degrees, or institutions. You remembered it. And this is exactly why many don't understand you. Society is built on the idea that knowledge must be earned through a specific process, studying, testing, and proving oneself. But you bypassed all of that. You received downloads, gut instincts, flashes of knowing that others cannot comprehend. They may call it intuition, coincidence, or even delusion, but you know better. This is why certain information finds you at the exact right time, why books, people, and messages seem to appear just when you need them. Because your wisdom isn't random, it's timed. It's been locked inside you, waiting for the precise moment when you're ready to receive it. And now, that time has arrived. Number 13. The more you try to fit in, the more life destroys your comfort zones. You've tried to blend in. You've tried to follow the script, do what's expected, keep your head down, and just be normal. But every time you do, life throws a wrecking ball at your comfort zone. Relationships fall apart, jobs collapse, friendships fade. The things that seem to work so easily for others never seem to work for you. It's not bad luck, it's not coincidence. It's because you were never meant to fit in, and life refuses to let you pretend otherwise. There have been moments when you thought, maybe if I just stop being so different, maybe if I just conform, things will get easier. And for a little while, it might have. But then, without fail, something happens that forces you right back onto the path you were meant to walk. The universe is relentless when it comes to you. Every time you try to shrink, your soul rebels. Every time you ignore your calling, life creates chaos to wake you up. This is why nothing about your journey has been smooth. You've watched others settle into predictable lives, never questioning, never being pushed beyond their limits. But you, every time you start getting comfortable, life shakes the ground beneath you. That's because you weren't designed for mediocrity. You weren't sent here to be passive, silent, or small. And when you try to be, the universe intervenes. not to punish you, but to redirect you back to your true path. At some point, you'll have to accept that you can't fake it. You can't force yourself into a box that was never meant to hold you. You are different, and no amount of denial will change that. The sooner you stop resisting, the sooner life stops feeling like a constant battle. Because the truth is, you weren't meant to survive in a comfort zone. You were meant to thrive outside of it. Number 14. You are both the curse and the cure. You are not easy to handle. Your presence alone shakes things up. You walk into a room, and without saying a word, something shifts. Some people feel an unexplainable pull toward you, sensing that you hold something they need. Others recoil, feeling exposed, uncomfortable, almost threatened, without even knowing why. This is because you are both the curse and the cure. You disrupt illusions. You make people face what they've buried. You challenge the carefully constructed facades they cling to. And for some, that feels like an attack. You represent change, and not everyone is ready for it. Some will resent you for simply existing, not realizing that it's their own fear reacting to your presence. But while some fear you, others are desperate for you. There are people who have been asleep for too long, trapped in cycles of confusion and disillusionment. When they meet you, something clicks. Your energy sparks something in them, a reminder of truths they had forgotten. You are the catalyst, the force that pushes them toward their own awakening. This is why your life feels like a contradiction. You are loved and hated, sought after and rejected, admired and misunderstood, all at the same time. Some days you will feel like a blessing. Other days you will feel like a curse. But this duality is your power. You were never meant to be one or the other. You were meant to be both. Embrace it. Stop trying to be palatable, to be just the cure without also being the storm that comes before it. Some people will resist you. Others will be transformed by you. But either way, they will never forget you. The time of hiding is over. The time of doubt, hesitation, and playing small, it no longer serves you. You were never meant to be ordinary, never meant to blend in or follow paths paved by others. You were sent here to disrupt, awaken, and rebuild. And whether the world is ready for you or not, you are here now. Some will recognize you instantly. Others will resist, reject, or misunderstand you. It does not matter. You are not here for approval. You are here for impact. Every trial you've endured, every hardship you've overcome has sharpened you into an unstoppable force. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was accidental. It all led to this moment. And now, as the world shifts, as the old systems crumble and a new era begins, you stand at the center of it all, unchanged, unshaken, undeniable. You are not here to be a spectator. You are here to leave a mark that can never be erased. This is your time, not to return, but to reveal who you have always been. The world will never be the same after you. And that was always the plan. If this message resonated with you, if you felt something deep in your soul activate, then you are exactly where you need to be. This is just the beginning. There is so much more to uncover, so many deeper truths waiting for you. So make sure to subscribe to the channel right now. Don't just watch, be a part of this movement. Like this video to push this message out to more people who need to hear it. Comment below and let me know which part hit you the hardest. And most importantly, share this with someone you know is waking up, someone who needs this confirmation that they are not alone. This is more than just content. This is a call to those who are ready. And if you're still here reading this, you are one of them.
Bloodshed is not the answer.
Drive for life plus more. The all-new MG ZS Hybrid Plus from $21,995.
They thought your silence was surrender, but it was the universe putting you in stealth mode, arming your spirit, sharpening your vision, upgrading your frequency while they danced around thinking the storm had passed. They thought they won, They thought the silence meant you were done, defeated, out of moves. But oh, the silence was a setup. And now that you're rising, they're not just shocked, they're shattered. Because this isn't a comeback, this is a cosmic retaliation. This is divine strategy unfolding in real time. And let's be very clear, their shock isn't sympathy, it's fear. They're not trembling because you're loud now. They're trembling because you're different. You're unrecognizable. The quiet, manageable version of you they thought they could manipulate is gone. And what's returned is someone they can't control, can't predict, and can't access. And that chosen one is haunting them. Before we go deeper, pause for a moment. Like this video, subscribe. Because when you do that, you're not just boosting a message, you're sending a signal to the platform. Another chosen one just woke up. This tells the system that this message needs to spread. And trust me, every time one of us wakes up, the world gets shaken. So if this is hitting your soul already, take that second. Like, subscribe, comment. And let's make sure every sleeping chosen one hears the alarm bell we're about to ring. Because this right here, this is no regular comeback. This is a resurrection, a return of energy they tried to kill. They poked the bear, thinking it was dead. They danced in your downfall, laughed at your collapse, gossiped during your breakdowns. They passed around your name like a rumor, never realizing your name was a prophecy. And now, the prophecy is walking, it's talking, it's glowing, and it's not looking back. They thought you were healing in peace. What they didn't know was the peace was part of the reload. They thought you were softening. What they didn't realize was that softness was the silence of precision, of someone calculating their next move in alignment with the universe itself. Because when the universe backs a chosen one, it doesn't make noise. It moves mountains in shadows and brings fire in whispers. Chosen one, your power isn't just returning, it's arriving at full force. And that kind of power doesn't knock. It kicks in doors, it breaks cycles, it exposes everything and everyone that was feeding off your dimmed light. And that light, oh, it doesn't just illuminate now, it burns, it confronts, it blinds the ones who are comfortable in the dark. The power of being chosen isn't in ego, it's in energy. You don't walk into rooms like everyone else. You shift the temperature. You don't raise your voice. You raise the frequency. You don't get revenge. You get remembered. And nothing shakes your enemies more than knowing they didn't break you. They built you. Their betrayal became your blueprint. Their mockery became your momentum. Every hit you took became fuel, and every lie they told became a stage for your truth. You don't even have to announce your return. Your presence does it for you. You don't have to clap back. The silence of your comeback is louder than their noise ever was. Because here's the part they never saw coming. You didn't just evolve, you escaped. You left their expectations behind. You left the version of you they thought they could control. You walked out of the system they built to keep you small. And now, the world has to deal with who you've actually become. So when they ask, OMG, who even are you now? You look them dead in the eye and say, I'm the storm you never saw coming. And now, I'm just getting started. So here's your moment. Drop the number 77 in the comments if you know this comeback is not about proving anyone wrong. It's about proving the universe right. If you felt that silent shift inside you, the one they can't explain but can't ignore, type it now. Because when you comment, like, or share, you're not just engaging, you're awakening the algorithm to find the others. This is how chosen ones connect. This is how we flood the system with frequency. You ready? Good, because we're just getting started. And now, let's get into it, step by step. Trust me, if you're really chosen, something inside you won't let you look away. This isn't casual content. This is a soul mirror. Stay with me, because by the end of this, even you will be shocked at who you've become. Let's begin. Number 1. They thought you were leveling up for attention. They didn't realize you were charging up for impact. They called it a glow-up because that's all their shallow eyes could comprehend. They looked at the outer layers, your new silence, your sharper energy, your colder boundaries, and labeled it a phase, a look, a performance. But this isn't cute. This isn't soft. This isn't aesthetic. This is a power surge, and it's burning through everything that tried to contain you. You didn't evolve to look good. You evolved to shake the foundation of every room you walk into. This is not cosmetic. It's cosmic. Let's be real. They weren't afraid when you were broken. They were comfortable. Comfortable watching you doubt yourself. Watching you give more than you had. Watching you bend so far backward, you forgot you had a spine. You were easy to digest back then. Safe, software, predictable. But now, you walk like you know the universe personally. You speak like your soul has been in war councils. You glow like someone who doesn't just survive, you reconstruct worlds. And that's what scares them. You're not glowing, you're radiating truth. And truth offends the fake. It makes the insecure squirm. It makes the unhealed run. You don't even have to say a word anymore. Just your energy announces, I'm not who I was, and I'm not here for your comfort. That's why they act weird around you now. That's why they try to diminish your growth. Because you remind them that staying the same is a choice. And you chose to ascend. So don't water it down. This isn't some casual glow-up story. This is a spiritual voltage surge after years of quiet internal warfare. People didn't see the nights you cried and still got up the next day. They didn't feel the moments your spirit broke in silence while you held others up. They didn't witness you reprogramming your entire identity while still smiling like nothing was wrong. They didn't know you were rebooting your soul, rewiring your spirit, recoding your destiny. They just see the power now and pretend they were there. But this version of you, it's earned. It's paid for in silence, solitude, and spiritual scars. And here's what's wild. Even now, even with the shift this loud, people will try to reduce it. They'll say, oh, you've changed, like it's a crime. Yes, you have. You were supposed to. They'll ask, who do you think you are? And you'll look them dead in the face and say, I'm someone who survived what would have destroyed you. You don't owe them humility when what you carry is divine authority. You don't owe them softness when they fed off your suffering. Your power isn't a performance. It's your birthright. Let them whisper. Let them project. Let them try to box you into the memory of who you used to be. That version of you was necessary for them, but it was never the final form. They met you in your building phase, and now that the blueprint's complete, they're intimidated by the design. Because people don't panic over glow-ups. They panic over power shifts, and chosen ones shift power without asking. This energy, it's bigger than looks, bigger than presence. It's energetic intimidation. It's the silent signal of someone who's not moved by outside opinions anymore. You're walking in alignment now, and that kind of movement doesn't just change your posture, it changes your atmosphere. Elevators don't announce their arrival, they just open. That's what you are now. Not a performer, a portal. Ever wonder why some people start acting weird around you for no reason? Why people you've known for years suddenly don't know how to talk to you, how to approach you, how to look you in the eye? It's not because you changed too much. It's because they never knew how much you were holding back. And now that you've stopped shrinking, their comfort has shattered. Think about every icon who's ever changed the world. Ali, Malcolm, Maya, Nina, Prince, Ye, Serena, even Tesla. What do they all have in common? People labeled them too much, arrogant, delusional, intense, crazy. And I know what you might be thinking right now. Why does it feel so lonely? Why doesn't anyone clap for me? Why do I feel like I'm becoming someone even I don't recognize? Because this isn't a public transition, it's a private evolution with public consequences. Your spirit is outgrowing the wounds your body used to feel at home in. The applause you're waiting for can't come from people who were rooting for your limits. The loneliness isn't punishment, it's insulation. The universe is protecting the frequency. You're being prepped for impact, not popularity. This isn't the glow up for Instagram. This is the comeback the cosmos has been waiting on. You're no longer walking in your past. You're walking in your proof. Proof that healing is real. Proof that silence isn't weakness. Proof that divine timing is louder than any rejection. You're not just showing up. You're showing them that what they feared wasn't your failure, it was your fulfillment. So let them doubt. Let them pretend they don't notice. Let them side-eye your confidence like it wasn't carved out of heartbreak and rebirth. You don't need their recognition. You have activation. And activated, chosen ones. We don't glow up. We shock systems. Your walk is different because your weight is different. Your words hit harder because your wounds taught you how to speak from scars, not ego. Your silence scares people now because they know it's where you charge. And when you speak, you shift everything. This is the surge they couldn't predict. This is the voltage they tried to silence. And now they don't know whether to applaud or run. Number 2, they laughed when you fell. Now they're choking on the dust of your rise. They thought it was funny when you fell. Let's not sugarcoat that. They laughed when you lost, gossiped when you struggled, celebrated in secret while pretending to care in public. Some even offered you fake sympathy just so they could feel taller, standing next to your pain. But that laughter, that mockery, that smug little satisfaction they got watching you crumble, it aged like milk. Because now you've risen, but not slowly, not gently. You didn't come back with flowers and a fragile smile. You came back like an earthquake. You came back like fire with a memory. You didn't just get back up. You detonated. And now, they're choking on the dust cloud of your comeback. They can't see straight because the vision they created of you, small, broken, dependent, is gone. You shattered it. Your evolution made it obsolete. And while they're still trying to mock the old version of you, they're being haunted by the new one you've become, the one they never saw coming. Let's make something clear. You saw them, all of them. You heard the laughter. You felt the energy shift. You noticed the change in tone, the lack of support, The way people conveniently disappeared when it looked like you had nothing left to offer. You weren't blind. You were quiet. You weren't naive. You were patient. But now the time for patience is over, and the universe has flipped the script. You see, when chosen ones fall, it's never final, because our downfall isn't the end, it's the charging station. We don't collapse, we convert. All that pain, all that betrayal, all that laughter behind our backs, it becomes fuel. It turns to fire. And by the time we rise, we're not looking for applause, we're bringing reckoning. It's funny how they thought your fall defined you, as if a single moment of vulnerability could erase a lifetime of value, as if you were finished because you had a season of stillness. They didn't understand the chosen ones don't have breakdowns. We have prequels. They saw failure. But what they were really witnessing was foundation. You were being stripped to the root, so your rise would be undeniable. And now that it is, they can't breathe. They're spinning narratives trying to figure out how you pulled this off. They say things like, "Wow, you've changed," or "Where did all this come from?" As if your evolution happened overnight. But no, it happened every night. Every silent night you cried alone. Every lonely morning you chose peace over revenge. Every moment you kept going when your body begged you to quit. This rise wasn't random. It was ritual. It was earned in the dark while they laughed in the light. Let's go deeper, because some of them weren't even enemies. They were close. Family, friends, lovers, people you trusted, people you rooted for. The betrayal cuts deeper when it comes from those you once prayed for. But now, the betrayal is exposed, not by your words, but by your rise. Your success is screaming truths you never had to speak. Your elevation is their mirror, and what they see, it's ugly. They didn't just doubt you, they fed off your struggle. It gave them power, made them feel safe. Because if you, the strong one, could fall, then maybe their stagnation wasn't so bad. But now, your growth is an indictment. Your comeback is confrontation. Your light has become their judgment. And here's the part that really messes with them. You're not even thinking about them. You're not doing this for revenge. You're not looking back. You're just rising. That's what haunts them. That they're no longer relevant in your story. That they were the villains in a chapter you've already closed. And the dust they're choking on, it's from a version of you that no longer exists. This is what chosen energy looks like in motion. We don't retaliate. We rise in a way that exposes. We don't throw dirt. We build towers. We don't return fire. We become the storm. So let them gag. Let them squint. Let them talk. While they scramble for an explanation, you walk in clarity. While they try to control the narrative, your energy speaks volumes. You don't need to prove anything. Your presence is the proof. Your alignment is the evidence. Your peace is louder than their chaos ever was. They laughed when you fell. Now they cough on your comeback. And this is just the beginning. They called it a phase, but it was a phoenix cycle. They thought you were falling apart, you were catching fire. They labeled it a phase because that made them feel safe. Because if it was just temporary, just a mood swing, a dramatic spiral, a breakdown in motion, then they didn't have to take your transformation seriously. They didn't have to question their role in your shift. They didn't have to confront the truth that what they were witnessing wasn't weakness, it was rebirth. They didn't know they were watching a phoenix burn. They laughed behind your back and whispered, "They'll be back to normal soon." But normal, that version of you, it died in the fire. What they called a meltdown was actually the divine stripping of every identity you outgrew. What they mistook for a breakdown was the collapse of everything that was never built on truth. The relationships, the roles, the expectations, all of it had to burn. And chosen ones don't just go through phases. We go through flames. You didn't disappear to self-destruct. You disappeared to self-resurrect. There were days you barely recognized yourself. You questioned everything. Your purpose, your worth, your voice. And while you were in the trenches, while your soul was screaming for clarity, they sat comfortably outside the fire, assuming it was just another episode. But it wasn't a breakdown. It was a breakthrough in slow motion. You see, real transformation is messy. It's violent in how it tears away the false versions of us. And for the chosen, the change isn't just external, it's cellular, spiritual. You don't just level up, you burn down. The light that returns afterward is not cosmetic, it's cosmic. You emerge unrecognizable, not because you changed your style, but because your energy no longer makes room for anything that doesn't serve your highest self. And that's what they couldn't understand. That's why they minimized it, because calling it a phase gave them hope that they'd get the old you back. The one who stayed quiet, the one who made herself small, the one who didn't ask for much, but gave everything. That version of you made them feel comfortable. And now, your presence makes them uncomfortable, because your elevation reminds them of the evolution they're too scared to step into. Let them sit with that. Let them scramble trying to redefine you. Let them argue with your glow. Let them pretend they never doubted you while they scroll in silence, watching you become everything they once mocked. Because here's the truth. They didn't believe in your evolution because they were committed to the version of you that made them feel powerful. And now that version is gone, and they can't handle the one that came back from the ashes. You burned for this. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You burned for the strength to walk away. You burned for the courage to release what was killing you slowly. You burned for the clarity to see what was never love, never loyalty, never light. And in that fire, you lost parts of yourself that felt like home, but were actually cages. People forget that phoenixes don't rise out of comfort. They rise out of cremation. So no, this wasn't a phase. A phase is temporary. A phase is shallow. This was sacred. This was ordained. This was you going through the dark night of the soul, shedding every illusion, every lie, every version of yourself that was designed to survive instead of thrive. And when you emerged, they didn't know what to say, because they were expecting a return to normal. But you came back renewed. You speak differently now. You move differently now. You require different things now. And their access, it's limited, not out of revenge, but out of recalibration. The version of you that accepted crumbs was burned in the fire, and the one that came back doesn't settle for less than divine. If they can't recognize you now, that's not your problem. That's their reflection. Because when chosen ones go through the Phoenix cycle, we don't come back to fit in. We come back to redefine the room. We don't explain the glow. We don't apologize for the ashes. We don't hold space for the ones who handed us matches. So let them call it what they want. A phase, a breakdown, a mood. Just smile quietly, because deep down, they know. They didn't witness a crisis. They witnessed your becoming. And now that you've risen, you don't owe them a single feather. Number 3. Your old self is gone, and they're still arguing with a ghost. There's something almost tragic about watching people try to provoke someone who no longer exists. They call your name, but they're talking to a ghost. They throw the same tired guilt trips, rehearse the same manipulation tactics, poke the same old wounds, but none of it works anymore, because the version of you they're trying to trigger is gone. That version of you that